I rise with profound honor at this time to make my contribution in support of the 2026 appropriation bill presented by our esteemed Prime Minister, the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8. Madam Speaker, before I make my presentation, I want to make it clear that the bill presented proposed a bold, forward-looking vision for St. Kitts and Nevis. A St. Kitts and Nevis that is stronger, more innovative, more sustainable. A nation where progress can be measured not only by economic growth, but by the opportunities created, the lives uplifted, and the legacy we secure for generations to come. This appropriation bill is far more than a financial instrument. It is a roadmap for transformation. It reflects, Madam Speaker, a government that dares to think differently, plan boldly, and invest wisely. A government that understands that resilience is not built in balance sheets, but in the capacity of our people, the strength of our respective institutions, and our sustained development. Before I speak on the portfolios entrusted to me and the allocations in the 2026 budget, permit me to speak frankly on the state in which I inherited the ministries and agencies when this Labour administration took office, the actions we have taken, and the path we are charting for the sector. You see, Madam Speaker, I understand yesterday I left for the Christmas party in my constituency, and I understand that the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 7 attempted to rewrite history. The tourism sector 3 years ago was crippled by poor decisions taken by the then Team Unity administration. The consequences, Madam Speaker, were real. Fewer arrivals, reduced receipts, lost jobs, foreclosures on homes. Some taxi and tour operators actually reported loss of their vehicles, their buses. And most profoundly, Madam Speaker, a growing sense of disconnection between policy and decisions and people's everyday lives. In the last 3 years, this government has reset the compass, rebuilt institutions, and re-anchored tourism in sustainable, inclusive, and globally competitive terms. We have turned the page from decline to revival, and we continue through this budget to build on the foundation for St. Kitts and Nevis that is people-centered. And so, Madam Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this budget that sustains the momentum we've built over the last 3 years, that accelerates transformation, and a budget that cements our standing as a premier destination that is safe and vibrant. Madam Speaker, the portfolio entrusted to me includes tourism, civil aviation, maritime, international transport, urban development, and employment and labor. These are not isolated sectors. They form the lifeblood of our national progress. Forgive me. Tourism continues to be the beating heart of our economy. And to me, that's in fact an understatement. We are the lifeblood of the economy, creating pathways for enterprise, creativity, and empowerment. Civil aviation and maritime and international transport together form the arteries that connect us to the world, ensuring that trade, travel, and opportunity flow seamlessly across our borders. Employment and labor form the backbone, ensuring that the prosperity we generate is protected by fairness, guided by strong principles, and translated into what we call decent work, safe places, and real upward mobility for our people and for every citizen to have a fair chance to participate in and benefit from economic growth. Forgive me, Madam Speaker, I was shouting at the Christmas party in excitement yesterday. Together, these portfolios reflect a single deliberate purpose: to build a future where prosperity is inclusive, growth is sustainable, and our people remain at the very center of national development. As we chart this path of transformation, the ministry's work must be viewed through the government's broader mission, the creation of a sustainable island state. As stated by the mover of the bill, the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8, this vision of a sustainable state is not an abstract ideal. It is a living framework that demands integration across every sector: economic, social, and environmental. Within this framework, the ministries of tourism, civil aviation, international transport, and employment play a defining role, connecting people, industries, opportunities in ways that make sustainability real and measurable. Madam Speaker, within the context of the 2026 Appropriation Bill, it is important to highlight how the Ministry of Tourism, et al., has continued and continue to deliver measurable results, transforming policy into performance and vision into value for our people. Throughout 2025, the ministry demonstrated remarkable resilience and strategic foresight. Despite intense competition across the Caribbean, persistent volatility in global travel patterns, and rising operational costs throughout the tourism value chain, our federation achieved unprecedented growth. We recorded historic visitor arrivals. We expanded airlift capacity by 18% and strengthened brand visibility in key markets, reinforcing St. Kitts and Nevis as a premier year-round destination. These results, Madam Speaker, are not products of chance. They are the result of deliberate policy choices, targeted investments, and robust intersector collaboration. Our shift from a reactive to a proactive, data-driven management model has ensured that every initiative is guided by market intelligence and is aligned with the tangible benefits of our people. Madam Speaker, the data tells a compelling story of growth and transformation. Between January and October 2025, visitor arrivals increased by 8% compared to the same period in 2024, with more than 137 stayover visitors recorded. And I think, Madam Speaker, that deserves commendation. This performance was underpinned by our expansion of airlift capacity between January and October 2025, which rose by 16% to 280,289 available seats. That is the result of strengthened partnerships with major international carriers such as JetBlue, United Airlines, American Airlines, and Intercaribbean Airways. Cruise tourism remains a strategic priority and is poised for a strong season. This season, we will feature 13 inaugural vessels, including Royal Caribbean's Star of the Seas that visited in October 2025. We anticipate an overall projection of over 1 million cruise passengers this season. We will continue to receive Royal Icons class vessels, with Legend of the Seas, their newest ship, scheduled to call at our port in 2026. Yes. St. Kitts continues and Nevis continue to rank in the top 5 destinations for many of our cruise partners, including Carnival and Royal Caribbean, our major suppliers. In addition, our destination continues to achieve a score of an average 9 out of 10 in satisfaction. This, Madam Speaker, is a clear indication of the effort that this Labour-led administration continues to put into our cruise sector, and of course, the hard, dedicated workers at the Ministry of Tourism, the SKTA, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, our sister agency, SCASPA, the Urban Development Corporation, and of course, the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. And I see they're represented here this morning. Madam Speaker, the synergy between stayover and cruise tourism has become a hallmark of our destination's resilience. Stayover visitors provide sustained economic activity through hotel stays, restaurant dining, and extended community engagement. Cruise visitors, while shorter in duration, inject volume, vibrancy, and visibility into the local economy, supporting our taxi operators, our local vendors, our tour guides, and our local artisans. This complementary relationship stabilizes business operations year-round. And I want you, Madam Speaker, to pay attention to that word, year-round, reducing seasonal vulnerability and ensuring that prosperity is shared across the tourism chain value. Let it not be forgotten, Madam Speaker, that only a few years ago, our destination faced declining airlift, stagnant visitor numbers, and waning confidence amongst our global partners. Through decisive leadership, strategic partnerships, and the unwavering commitment of this Labour-led administration, we have reversed that trajectory. Yes, trying to rewrite history. Today, St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer recovering, Madam Speaker. We are at this time redefining Caribbean tourism excellence. We have rebuilt trust with our airlines, with our cruise lines, with our travel advisors, and our investors. We have repositioned our nation not merely as open for business, but as a thriving, dynamic, and future-ready tourism destination. So, Madam Speaker, as we debate the 2026 appropriation bill, it is important to acknowledge that the continued strength of our tourism sector rests squarely on our ability to forge and sustain strong partnerships with international air carriers. Airlift, which is a hot talk, remains the lifeblood of island tourism. For without reliable year-round connectivity, even the most beautiful destination will struggle to attract visitors in the numbers necessary to sustain growth, jobs, and opportunity. This Labour-led administration understands the reality. We have therefore invested strategically to secure the air access our Federation requires, not through ad hoc arrangements, but through structured, data-driven agreements that balance government support with long-term sustainability. I must highlight, Madam Speaker, an exciting development. An increase in capacity from the Canadian market And this is a market that we're struggling with for a number of reasons. We have, with Air Canada, upgrading this season from an A319 aircraft, which has the capacity to carry 136 seats, to an A321, which accommodates 200 passengers. Madam Speaker, this is superbly ideal as the destination recently ranked number 2 in searches by Canadians, an increase of 170% as reported by SKNIS. The report indicated that as Canadians look to book their 2026 travel, they are looking for cultural discovery, coastal charm, and vibrant city life. I'm smiling because I hear the senator behind me echoing, and she just came from Canada recently. But it doesn't stop there, Madam Speaker. I remember when Silver Airways had its challenges just a few months ago, and they had to remove their St. Kitts connection. There was a big panic, a lot of talk around town. But Madam Speaker, as usual, this government is proactive, not reactive. Today, I am happy to report that yesterday, December 18th, 2025, we welcomed the inaugural Inter-Caribbean Airways direct flight from San Juan, Puerto Rico, replacing that lost flight from Silver Airways, Madam Speaker, and keeping connectivity open. This government continues to recognize the importance of strengthening partnerships, and it is with this mandate that we continue to see an increase in airlift in our federation. Once these routes become commercially viable through consistent demand and strong brand visibility, and I think I'm making some technical terms, but just to break it down, for our destination to be, for us to stimulate demand for our destination, we must first make the destination visible. People must know that we exist, what we have to offer, and why they should choose St. Kitts and Nevis over any other sun destination. The government can responsibly, and we have responsibly, redirected resources towards new routes and new emerging markets. This, Madam Speaker, is the hallmark of responsible tourism development, one that builds enduring connectivity, expands our reach, and ensures that growth is sustainable for the long term. While connectivity brings visitors to our shores, it is strategic marketing and strong brand visibility that inspire them to choose St. Kitts and Nevis. In an increasingly crowded global marketplace, destinations that fail to invest in marketing simply fade from the view, and that is a fact. This government has ensured that St. Kitts and Nevis remain firmly and competitively positioned on the world stage. Our global destination marketing budget increased to EC 14.8 million in 2025, a deliberate investment focused on strengthening brand recognition, deepening engagement in key markets, and converting interest into bookings. These resources were strategically deployed to ensure measurable impact and value. A key pillar of our approach has been high-impact, authentic partnerships that extend reach while preserving our integrity, our brand integrity. The Cole Palmer UK campaign successfully engaged Gen Z travelers and the UK diaspora through modern, relatable storytelling, leveraging his nearly 9 million social media followers to position St. Kitts as a vibrant and relevant Caribbean destination. Madam Speaker, that is monies, marketing dollars well invested. Similarly, our partnership with Blue Boho Fine Jewelry in Canada targeted high-value millennial audiences aligned with luxury, sustainability, and conscious travel, principles that reflect our regenerative tourism vision. Our out-of-home advertising footprint has expanded across major source markets with premium placements in New York. And I'm sure some of you who would have visited New York would have seen on Times Square, down in Times Square, where we had our destination featured there. So we had premium placements in New York, Toronto, and London, and targeted transit advertising in airports and major transport corridors, spaces where travel intent is shaped and journeys are planned. Marketing dollars, again, well invested. This consistent visibility ensures that St. Kitts and Nevis remains top of mind for travelers considering their next Caribbean experience. I am particularly proud that these global campaigns prominently featured local creatives, and I don't see the member from St. Christopher for. We featured our local photographers, our local models, our local artists, ensuring that the true faces and stories of St. Kitts and Nevis were shared with the world. This authentic representation strengthens our brand while allowing our people to benefit directly from tourism promotion. And I see my little friend just walked in. Madam Speaker, good morning. When potential visitors see real Kittitians and Nevisians, the warmth, the culture, and the energy of our people, they connect with something that's not manufactured, something that no manufacturer can actually replicate. We are not selling an illusion, Madam Speaker. We're sharing the heart and the soul of our nation. Figures and forecasts, Madam Speaker, have their place. But at the heart of this government's work is one simple truth. The success of tourism must be felt by our people. And today I am proud to report that it is. Visitor expenditure rose from EC 266 million in 2024 to EC $278.7 million in 2025. That increase, Madam Speaker, did not happen by chance. Again, it is the result of deliberate policy, strategic investment, and a government that puts people and prosperity first. Improved load factors and longer stays have translated into higher spending per visitor, and our visa transaction analysis confirms a surge in average spend across the board. Madam Speaker, this is not abstract data. This is real money entering our communities, circulating through small businesses, and strengthening our families. Investing in people and progress. Madam Speaker, the tourism value chain is not an academic term. It is the daily reality of our people. It is the taxi operator who now meets more flights and earns more fares. It is the tour guide whose schedule is full because visitors are eager to discover our stories. It is the restaurant and beach bar filled on weekends, serving homegrown flavors and employing more young people. It is the craft vendor at Port Zante, proudly selling the artistry of our people. It is the hotel worker whose hours are steady, whose tips increase, and whose household benefits from every single plane or cruise ship that visits our shores. Madam Speaker, while tourism has proven itself as a powerful engine of national growth, growth alone is never enough. Growth must be governed, growth must be protected, and growth must translate into fairness, security, and dignity for the people who power it every single day. That is why employment and labor is indispensable within this ministry's portfolio. An economy that expands without strong labor protections risks leaving ordinary working people behind. But an economy guided by labor values, fairness, productivity, and justice ensures that success is shared, wages are defended, and opportunity is real. This Labour administration understands that connection, Madam Speaker. Tourism creates the jobs, employment and labour ensures those jobs are decent, safe, productive, and sustainable. The Ministry of Employment and Labour remains steadfast in its commitment to fairness, justice, and dignity within our workforce across the Federation. This ministry is determined to lead as the premier labour authority, one that actively protects workers, strengthens productivity, and modernizes workplace standards to reflect the evolving socio-economic realities of St. Kitts and Nevis. This past year for us has been one of purposeful action. Through deliberate reforms, innovative initiatives, and strong interministerial collaborations, we have focused on building a labour framework that works for both workers and employers. Our objective is clear: to promote fair labour practices, raise productivity, and support sustainable economic growth that benefits every citizen. Through proactive policy making and strategic planning, this government is strengthening the foundation of our labour market and securing a more equitable and resilient future for our people. Madam Speaker, the Appropriation Bill of 2026, as presented by our esteemed Prime Minister, is practical. It's forward-looking and firmly rooted in sustainability. It reinforces this government's commitment to improving work conditions through legislative reform, more inspections, and stronger compliance mechanisms. Over the past 2 years, Madam Speaker, our labour market has shown steady improvement, as mentioned by the mover of the bill. According to national statistics, the average number of jobs increased by 3.3%, and that must be commended, Madam Speaker. These figures reflect more than economic recovery. They speak to resilience, determination, and the collective effort of government, of workers, and employers working together under sound leadership. However, Madam Speaker, we are not blind to the realities before us. Despite this progress, our labour market continues to face challenges: skills mismatches, productivity gaps, and reliance on key sectors such as tourism and retail. These realities remind us that employment is not simply a statistic. It is a system shaped by policy choices, partnerships, choices, and people. That is why this government approaches labour reform with seriousness, balance, and purpose. At the heart of our approach is stakeholder engagement. This government understands that lasting labour reform cannot be imposed. It must be built through dialogue. That is why the 2026 Appropriation Bill reflects a stakeholder-responsive agenda. At the Ministry, we continue to strengthen collaboration with workers' organisations, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, training institutions, and community groups through constant consultation and open engagement. These consultations have already delivered tangible results, one being the minimum wage reform. Madam Speaker, the increase in minimum wage phased across 2024 to 2025 and was shaped by meaningful dialogue with unions, employers, and the wider public. After 10 long years without a single adjustment, it was this Labour government that acted. We listened. We established the National Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, and following careful review and consultation, we delivered an increase that places our workers among the better protected in the region. From the days of the Buckley's uprising to today, it is beyond a shadow of doubt that it has always been the Labour Party that stood shoulder and continues to stand shoulder to shoulder with our workers. And that legacy continues under this government. Madam Speaker, the establishment of the NPC, which is the National Productivity Council, was a direct response to national discussions on performance, competitiveness, and workplace culture. Productivity is essential to our GDP growth and our long-term sustainability, and this government has moved beyond talk to action. The Council is now operational and represents a clear commitment to improving performance across both the public and private sector. And I see His Excellency Sam Terence Condor in the public gallery this morning, and he leads on the issues related with the National Productivity Council. Madam Speaker, our remarkable progress in 2025 did not happen in isolation. It was fortified through deliberate and strategic engagement with our regional and international partners. This government understands that a small island cannot stand still in a global tourism market. We must grow. We must show up. We must speak up and assert our rightful place. And that is exactly what we have done, Madam Speaker. Through active participation in the Caribbean Tourism Organization, meaningful collaboration with our fellow small island developing states, SIDS, and continuous knowledge exchange across the region, we have made St. Kitts and Nevis a respected contributor in the Caribbean tourism space. At the same time, we have strengthened relationships with global industry bodies such as ASTA, IATA, and CLEAR. And this is important, Madam Speaker, as these are the organizations that shape booking trends, airline connectivity, cruise itineraries, and international travel demand. These partnerships give us the kind of market intelligence, industry visibility, and strategic positioning that no small island can afford to ignore. When we take our seat at the table, Madam Speaker, not as passive participants, but as confident advocates, we influence the decisions that directly affect the livelihoods of the people we serve. That is the power of proactive diplomacy. It ensures that when airlines are evaluating new routes, when cruise lines design new deployments, and when international hotel brands explore expansion, St. Kitts and Nevis is not just on the list. All of this is strategic, Madam Speaker, why we're able to be first ports on new itineraries by the cruise lines, how we were able to get Icon of the Seas, the first stop on the itinerary, how we were able to get Star of the Seas. Our strong, consistent voice is helping to secure the connectivity, the investment, and the global presence necessary to keep our tourism sector vibrant and competitive. Madam Speaker, having outlined the achievements of the past year and the strength of our regional and international positioning, it is now important that we turn our attention to the road ahead. As we move into the 2026 fiscal year, the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, and International Transport will deepen its efforts to position St. Kitts as a global model of inclusive, regenerative, and future-ready tourism. Our approach, as I have said, Madam Speaker, is guided by a simple but powerful conviction. Tourism must work for the people, not as an abstract concept measured in spreadsheets, but as a lived reality that improves household incomes, expands entrepreneurial pathways, and strengthens every community across the Federation. And so, Madam Speaker, our work for 2026 and beyond is anchored in 5 strategic priorities. These priorities will serve as a guiding star, each designed to ensure that tourism success is felt directly by our citizens. Our first priority is to secure and expand the connectivity that keeps our tourism engine running. We will intensify our efforts to maintain and grow year-round airlift and cruise calls, ensuring reliable access for visitors and steady opportunities for our people. This includes the continuation of our revenue guarantee arrangements, paired of course with robust targeted marketing to stimulate demand and safeguard route performance. When our marketing drives visitor interest and we keep those seats filled, we protect our connectivity while practicing fiscal prudence. Madam Speaker, I want to address another limb in our strategic plan, which is to uplift the communities that serve in tourism. Through the strengthened implementation of our training department, which was introduced, I think it was last year, our goal is to build capacity across the tourism value chain. One of the most powerful ways St. Kitts and Nevis can distinguish itself in a competitive global market is through exceptional customer service. And those of you who are online, social media, the different social media platforms, sometimes you would hear complaints as it relates to customer service, whether at our ports, airports, seaport, hotels. The only way we can distinguish ourselves in a competitive global market is through exceptional customer service, warmth, and knowledge. Every visitor who comes to our shores must leave not just satisfied, but transformed, having experienced the authentic spirit of Kittitian and Nevisian hospitality. When we Kittitianize or Nevisianize the visitor experience, every guest becomes an ambassador to our nation. Madam Speaker, this commitment to quality extends to direct support for our tourism businesses. Just last week, the team and I completed wellness checks with several properties and accommodations on island. I am pleased to report measurable improvement. They're not hearing me? I'm pleased to report, and I'm seeing it on the screen now, report measurable improvement. In some cases, Madam Speaker, occupancy rates increased from 50% to 76% year over year. Assurances were also provided by the respective property managers and owners for infrastructure upgrades, enhancing the guest experience on their properties and strengthening destination competitiveness. Several properties have further reported sold out or near sold out bookings for June, driven largely, and we're just in December, and some properties we asked about November, January, February, March, and they're saying the bookings are going well, but they reported sold out or near sold out bookings for June, driven largely by the St. Kitts Music Festival, a festival that has become a trend setter in the region, and I dare say the world. So, this is significant for us in tourism, Madam Speaker, because traditionally, the tourism season ends for us at the end of the winter season. That's usually around April, or let's say even in May. One of our objectives, as I've said, is to make the destination year-round. And so if we can have bookings, hotels filled in June, flights filled in June, that is transitioning us from seasonal, Madam Speaker, to year-round. And what we've seen is those hotels, taking into account that we have Restaurant Week, CPL, Culturama, and all the other activities that drive visitors to our destination up until August, Madam Speaker. And we found that we've only been struggling for the months of September and October. Nonetheless, that is a good transition from seasonal to year-round. And so we are making strides, and I want to commend the hard-working teams in the Ministry of Tourism again, and the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, and all of our respective sister agencies who continue to put in the work. Driving visitor growth requires diversification. That is why we will accelerate the development of yachting as an emerging high-value niche within our tourism products. And the Prime Minister, the Honourable Member from St. Christopher 8, has been behind us, ensuring that this happens. And we've made provision in this cabinet to ensure that this is something we can actually implement in the next budget cycle. This sector, we have how many? Million? Oh, I thought she said we had 10 million, but we have right now 10 super yachts. Wow. And a luxury one berthed downtown at Port Zante. This sector, Madam Speaker, unlocks opportunities in marine services, vessel maintenance, provisioning, and luxury hospitality, creating specialized jobs and higher spend across the economy. And the data has shown you get more income generated from yachting than cruise. And I don't know if you recall, Madam Speaker, last budget cycle we reported that we were able to increase the visitor spend from 2023 to 2024. And we're hoping that with the introduction of the yachting service as a niche to our tourism product, that we can also increase spend there. With facilities at Safe Harbor Marina and Port Zante, St. Kitts is well positioned to capture this affluent market, one that stays longer, spends more, and seeks authentic local experiences. Yachting strengthens diversification and extends the season and adds resilience overall to our tourism product. The team recently toured the completed upgrades at Safe Harbor Marina, and I'm pleased to report that the destination is well aligned for a robust yachting season. The marina now features 31 berths accommodating yachts up to 400 feet with in-slip fueling, an important convenience for captains and crew. Upgrades completed to date include expansion of berthing capacity through a new Medmore dock with a marina depth of 18 feet to accommodate larger vessels. Strong focus on crew experience, including a new gym, crew lounge, organized activities, a golf simulator, a paddle court, and swimming pool. Major improvements. An installation of a desalination system producing 80,000 gallons per day, easing, of course, the pressure, and weighing on the pressure no more, based on what the Honourable member from St. Christopher 3 said yesterday. But the 80,000 gallons per day eases the pressure on our national water resources. Madam Speaker, these developments signal our intent to grow tourism, not only in volume, but in value. Through strengthened connectivity, skilled and service-driven people, and diversified high-value offerings, this government is ensuring that visitor growth translates into resilience, opportunity, and shared prosperity for our people. Madam Speaker, our second priority, and I'm getting there, is rooted in the essential truth that visibility drives viability. Let me say that again. Visibility drives viability. In a competitive global market space where destinations continue to compete, and we like to say compete when we have our meetings, but we actually compete for attention, we compete for bookings, and we compete for market share. St. Kitts must be seen, must be felt, and must stand out with clarity and conviction. To give meaningful effect to this government has proposed 57.2 million financial resources for the Ministry of Tourism, of which over 30 million, more than half, will be invested directly into strategic destination promotion and digital brand building, allowing us to intensify campaigns globally ensuring that our story reaches audiences in North America, in the United Kingdom, Europe, the Caribbean, and emerging niche markets. This is not expenditure, Madam Speaker, this is investment. Investment that brings passengers through our airports, to our seaports, puts heads in beds at our hotels, bodies into our taxis, and revenue into small businesses. When our brand, Madam Speaker, is visible, our economy grows. And I want to thank, and I think we take for granted a lot of times, the hard work of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority when they leave their families and travel to promote Destination St. Kitts. It's tiring. A lot of times people come and they say they're fatigued, but we put in the work to make sure that our visibility can drive viability. Madam Speaker, this year, I'm pleased to confirm that the hosting of ASTA Caribbean 2026 will be here in St. Kitts in August 2026. And let me see if I remember what the ASTA is, Association. Yes, American, and I was actually a featured speaker in August in Jamaica, American Society of Travel Advisors. It is a huge thing, Madam Speaker. This prestigious conference brings hundreds of travel advisors, wholesalers, meeting planners, and industry gatekeepers to our shores. When these decision makers experience St. Kitts firsthand, we capture bookings for future years. We increase hotel occupancy and expand group travel and elevate confidence in our destination. Let us look closely at this timeline, Madam Speaker. We were strategic in developing our trade markets, working tirelessly to get it booming. These efforts translated into tangible results, including the destination earning the Gold Magellan Award for the Sky, that's St. Kitts Your Way program. Building on this momentum in 2026, like I said, we will host the ASTA Showcase, further positioning St. Kitts as a premier travel destination. This timeline demonstrates how deliberate government action drives recognition, strengthens partnerships, and translates into sustainable economic growth for the destination. Madam Speaker, in support of our private sector, we will launch St. Kitts in the Spotlight, a strategic business-to-business showcase for local hotels, tour operators, and destination management companies. And when we announced it, they were excited. This is market access in its truest form, giving our businesses direct links to those who control the bookings, the itineraries, the packages, and travel distribution channels. When our stakeholders negotiate directly, they capture higher value and greater margins, and that strengthens livelihoods right here at home. This second priority is about securing St. Kitts' rightful place in the global marketplace, not by shouting louder than others, but by speaking with clarity as to who we are, what we offer, and why we matter. Madam Speaker, as we build a tourism economy that stands the test of time, our commitment is clear. Tourism must heal and not harm. Restore, not extract. That is the essence of regenerative development. In the coming fiscal year, the ministry will operationalize this vision through a waste management and climate action strategy designed with a focus on the tourism sector. This strategy will encourage hotels, attractions, and service providers to adopt sustainable waste systems, transition away from single-use plastics, and champion recycling initiatives, also keeping in line with the mandate of the Ministry of Environment. The government will also support regenerative outcomes through complementary investments in coastal restoration, renewable energy integration, and of course, eco expansion. When we restore our beaches, we protect a fundamental economic asset. When we integrate renewable energy into resorts and our ports and tourism sites, we reduce operational costs while demonstrating environmental leadership. If tourism, Madam Speaker, is to lift and to continue lift our nation, then its benefits must touch every household. It must touch every community, not only the hotel corridors and commercial districts. In 2026, the ministry will intensify its commitment to inclusive development through the Heart of the Community project, developed and delivered in partnership with the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States. This initiative is deliberately designed to ensure earnings and tourism earnings are more widely shared and move revenue from centralized hubs into villages, into families and local entrepreneurs. Madam Speaker, transformational development is now underway in our cruise sector. I am proud at this time to officially announce that St. Kitts has secured home porting operations We have secured home porting operations for P&O cruises under the Carnival Corporation umbrella, one of the most influential cruise brands locally. This represents a decisive shift in our positioning, not just as a port of call, but as a strategic embarkation and disembarkation hub within the Caribbean cruise sector. This initial model, of home porting will enable a fly cruise experience where passengers will begin and end their journeys in St. Kitts and Nevis. They will fly into our beautiful Federation, overnight in our hotels, make advance and post cruise bookings, utilize our taxi and tour services, dine in our fancy restaurants, and purchase retail products. These, Madam Speaker, are tangible benefits that the Honourable Senator Jones seemed not to be aware of. Real income reaching real people. To support this unprecedented advancement, Madam Speaker, the government will proceed with major upgrades at Port Zante, including the construction of a new cruise terminal designed to international home porting standards. This facility will offer enhanced passenger processing, expanded customs and immigration capacity, comfortable holding lounges, and improved logistic spaces, ensuring efficiency, safety, and high service quality for passenger and cruise operators. Madam Speaker, this is not merely infrastructure, it is strategic positioning. We must appreciate that visitors form their impressions of St. Kitts long before they arrive at their respective accommodation. If terminals are modern, processing is smooth, amenities are accessible, and spaces are well maintained, they immediately sense that this is a destination that values excellence. Madam Speaker, I'm sure you've heard a lot about resilience, and we talk a lot about resilience. For us, it's not merely a trending hashtag. Resilience for us is the new foundation of global competitiveness. Hurricanes must not cripple our sector. Heavy rainfall must not disrupt access to our sites. Rising temperatures must not compromise visitor comfort. By upgrading our facilities at Port Zante, advancing our plans for the terminal modernization at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport, improving beach management infrastructure, and supporting digital readiness across tourism sites, we are not simply building infrastructure. We are building confidence, economic continuity, and long-term sustainability. Allow me at this time, Madam Speaker, to talk about, just to mention some of the initiatives that the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority will embark on. That's not necessarily accounted for in this budget, but supports the work, well, in the appropriation bill, but supports the work generally of our government. Like I said, by mid-2027, Madam Speaker, we will have constructed and operationalized the new cruise terminal, fully equipped with passenger security screening and custom processing facilities. We will also be converting the RLB Airport VIP parking lots into a dedicated dual-use passenger processing hall featuring security screening and immigration and custom services. The inaugural season for our first call for home porting is November 8th, 2027. And so we must be ready. That is already published on the itineraries. And we will, from November 7, 2027, manage 2,000 passengers weekly. 2,000 passengers weekly flying from the UK on charters, boarding on their cruise from Port Zante, returning back to Port Zante, and again flying back to the UK via chartered service. Madam Speaker, this is a big thing for us, and it must be commended. We value our relationships and partnerships. Madam Speaker, the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority intends as well to lead the nation's CISA transition by decarbonizing operations at our ports and ensuring, as I said earlier, that the infrastructure is resilient to climate change. We intend, between 2026 and 2027, to successfully commission the wind turbine project, targeting a 50% reduction in electricity costs and greenhouse emissions. We intend as well, through the budget at the authority, implement solar PV solutions, and all new and existing rooftops, including our cargo sheds and terminals, will be decked with this solution. Madam Speaker, at the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, I wish at this time to give the update on the work done at the corporation that is one of our sister agencies. I am pleased to report that the Cabinet has approved the acquisition of over 8 acres of land located at the Cockleshell Beach to be developed and managed by the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. Following several monthly interagency meetings held at the Ministry of Tourism, a Cockleshell Task Force Committee was established comprising multiple agencies across the government. The Cabinet's approval sanctioned the Cockleshell Beach Operations Policy. The proposed development covers approximately 8.16 acres of land. The site plan introduces a structured layout with clearly defined zones so that activities flow seamlessly. These include areas for food and beverage operations, family and leisure use, water sports activity, public facilities, and access for all locals. Space is also identified for a SCASPA terminal and for what the Honourable member from Nevis 11 spoke of, an extension of the existing pier. This zoning approach allows the beach to operate in a more, would allow our beach and our vendors to operate in a more organized way. And it improves visitor flow and supports a more consistent experience for both locals and visitors. At present, Madam Speaker, several vendors operate directly on the sand close to the waterline. This, of course, limits the space for swimming, walking, and general recreation and contributes to congestion during peak periods. The proposal that was approved relocates some of our vendors as well from the South Friars Bay into a purpose-built structure space located several feet away from the shoreline. It restores the beachfront for public enjoyment.
Honourable Member, you are at the 1 hour mark.
Beg your pardon?
You are at the 1 hour mark.
Grateful. I don't intend to go beyond that. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The approved proposal by the Cabinet restores beachfront for public enjoyment while creating a cleaner and more comfortable shoreline experience for locals and visitors. Importantly, Madam Speaker, the existing tree line there on Cockleshell, where a lot of people just relax and spend the day, will remain intact and continue to be used as a shaded picnic and recreational space. The Public Works Department, who is also represented on the task force, has prepared preliminary designs for 3 types of bar structures, which the Cabinet looked at and gave its approval. The proposal is for the government to construct these buildings and lease them to vendors. And in total, or at least for starters, we are proposing 10 commercial units. Public amenities will form part of the project. These include restrooms, showers, shaded seating areas, and recreational spaces, waste and recycling stations, and lighting and pedestrian walkways. The project is structured to be delivered in phases to allow for cost control, for coordination, and minimal disruption to beach use. The first phase prioritizes core infrastructure, including road access, drainage improvements, waste water treatment, utilities, and pier upgrades and extensions. Safety and emergency responses were also considered, as the design includes lifeguard towers to improve water safety. It also sets aside space for a police outpost and a fire and rescue outpost. Carrying capacity was also carefully considered. While the physical space could approximately house 1,200 persons, accommodate 1,200 persons based on area calculation, the figure did not account for environmental impact, amongst other things. And so the carrying capacity recommended daily operating capacity to about 800 visitors and residents. As I said, management of the space is proposed under the Frigate Bay Development Corporation with support from the St. Kitts Tourism Authority for licensing and tourism standards. So, Madam Speaker, as we look forward toward the implementation of this program of our work, our responsibility is clear. Every dollar allocated to tourism must translate, as I said before, in value for our people. And so this government, Madam Speaker, has been deliberate in seeking and allocating resources that will not just sit on paper, but will produce real outcomes, real jobs, business activities, stronger connectivity, and greater opportunities for every citizen from every walk of life. I want to mention one of the most powerful economic engines in our annual calendar, the St. Kitts Music Festival. The government has maintained its allocation of $9 million, and of course that is not without reason. For many families, that weekend, this month generally, is one of the highest earning period of the year. I remember when we met with JetBlue, and I wasn't there, but the team reported that they said, what's happening in St. Kitts in June? They wished every week could be like that week for the music festival. And that is because, Madam Speaker, the impact from the festival, we've done the economic impact assessment, and the impact is clear. It trickles down. Another major investment, as I said, is in the area of air service and destination visibility, which I touched on earlier. Today, St. Kitts has more flight capacity than we did 2 years ago. And as nice as that sounds, it proposed and puts another challenge. So we have more flights than we did, but it means we have more seats to fill. It means the team has more work to do. We have to go out and ensure that those seats are filled. When a destination is well connected, everything else becomes easier though. Hotels hire more people. New small businesses open, and nationals at home and abroad can travel efficiently, and investors are confident. The government has therefore, Madam Speaker, protected the resources for flights for air service connectivity and have the need to sustain airlift performance with an investment of $21.5 million, because access cannot be left by chance. So, Madam Speaker, we are investing with our allocations. We intend to invest with our allocations, and we intend to invest strategically in major media placements in our different source markets, in digital campaigns that reach audiences that traditional advertising cannot reach, and in our storytelling efforts that highlights our culture, our warmth, and our identity. I want to again thank all of our stakeholders, all the teams in tourism. I see our junior Minister of Tourism sitting on the front, Miss Mary Shelford, who did a wonderful job in representing us at the Regional Caribbean CTO's Youth Congress. Beg your pardon? And she's also a remarkable teen. Yes. She's also a remarkable teen. And she continues to work with us. She's an excellent junior Minister of Tourism. So the allocations that this government has preserved in the bill proposed for 2026 are not just about spending. They're about safeguarding opportunity, about expanding earning power, and about ensuring that the economic momentum we have built over the last 3 years does not slow, but accelerates. We're using, and we propose to continue using public resources with precision and with clear purpose, to elevate our destination, to strengthen the value of our tourism product, and to ensure that citizens, which is the theme of this budget debate, empowering people and progress, to ensure that citizens feel the benefits of tourism, not just in theory, but in their pockets, in their work week, and in the opportunities available to them. Madam Speaker, these allocations reflect an investment in national prosperity, in household security, and in a tourism future that belongs to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Before I conclude, however, permit me, Madam Speaker, to speak directly to the people I am honored to represent, my people, the good people of Central Bastia. Because, Madam Speaker, at the end of every debate in this Honourable House, the true measure of leadership is not what we say here, but what our constituents feel and how they're empowered. National development must never be something that happens somewhere else. It must be visible and tangible in the everyday lives of our people, in the opportunities they can access, in the security they feel, and the dignity with which they live. Madam Speaker, I know all of the presenters who went before me spoke of how the people in Central Bastia will benefit. We've built over 800 homes through the NHC program. The good people of Central Bastia have benefited from some of those homes. Currently under construction, I think 12 homes at Gillard's. And soon we would have new homeowners shaking their keys. Central Bastia continues to be landlocked, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development has found ways to ensure that the good people of Central Bastia benefit from land allocation, not, albeit sometimes not within the Central Bastia communities. I continue to beam with pride when I sit in my one-on-ones, Madam Speaker, and see a number of young people benefit from the jobs created by this government. They come, they indicate they want to work. They are told of the available opportunities. I see them on a day-to-day basis showing up to jobs. And I want the people in Central Bastia to understand that I will continue to advocate on their behalf. Opportunities, Madam Speaker, are opening for our young people to this government and its initiatives, for families and for small entrepreneurs. The people of Central Bastia continue to benefit. As a part of a campaign that we launched, a cleanup campaign in Central Bastia, not as a one-day activity or a symbolic gesture, but as a coordinated program that included several cleanup and improvement initiatives across the constituency. We launched the campaign Restoring Pride, Improving Safety, because if you follow the pages on social media, some of the places were not safe, overgrown, abandoned properties. And when we walk the streets and engage the constituents, some of the things they reported was that, they didn't feel safe with all these abandoned properties and overgrown properties. Madam Speaker, through this campaign, the cleanup campaign, we restored pride in our community. The campaign so far has been successful in not only improving the cleanliness and sanitation of the physical environment, but it has fostered a sense of ownership and civic responsibility amongst communities of Central Bastia. When we go out and you see the residents showing up and taking part in cleaning the communities, it is heartwarming. They come out, they walk around, they help us with the consultations, and they help with the overall cleanup. I wish at this time to thank all the agencies who have partnered with me as the parliamentary representative, Her Majesty's Prison, the Ministry of Health, the Traffic Department who helped with the derelict vehicles, Parks and Beaches, the STEP program, Public Works Department, and the Solid Waste Management Corporation, all, Madam Speaker, have been instrumental in delivering these results. It is my job as your elected representative to mobilize government's resources to bring these kinds of tangible solutions to the community level for your benefit. I wish to thank every resident who came out, every volunteer, every young person, every community member, because what you demonstrated is exactly what Labour leadership has always stood for. Community-powered, shared responsibility, and the belief that our people deserve better. Transformation does not come or does not happen from speeches, from bullying on Facebook. It happens when communities rise and say, enough is enough. We are taking back our space. We're going to make our spaces safer. So as we enter, Madam Speaker, the Christmas season, I wish to say directly to the families and the people of Central Bastia, a happy and prosperous New Year. Yesterday, we came together. I left this Honourable House to attend the constituency party and celebrate with the children. And I have no voice now, but we shared joy, we laughed together, and we had a good season of togetherness. I don't say unity. Because So, to the beautiful people of Central Bastia, I say this. My commitment to you is steady, and I'm not campaigning. Yes. Go ahead. Because I see some people saying that. But my role in this house is to ensure, Correct. But my role in this house is to ensure that the people who elected me overwhelmingly to serve them have their interests met. I say this, my commitment to you is steady. It is not seasonal and it is not selective. I will continue to listen. I will continue to work. I will continue to advocate. Ask the honourable members, my colleagues who sit on this side with me, how much should I say? Well, what happened to the things them for us in Central Bastille? But together, we will continue. We're getting with houses, we're getting with roads, we're getting with land, with water. And I'm not just getting, we have gotten improved roads. We have gotten, sorry? The waterman from number 3 has recently restored 24/7 water, soon to be restored to the communities. But I'm getting it already and I'm thankful. So Central Bastille, I will continue to listen. I will continue to work. I will continue to advocate on the ground and in this honourable house for opportunities and a better quality life for the people of Central Bastille. Together, we will continue to build a Central Bastille, build communities that we can be proud of. Communities where progress is real, where a girl from McKnight like me could come out and stand in this honourable house today. Where people feel supported and where every family can look to a future with confidence. So I say to the good people of Central Bastille, I see you, I hear you, and I know the daily realities you face. Feel encouraged and rest assured that this 2026 budget has allocations within it that benefit all of you. So as I conclude my presentation, Madam Speaker, I wish to reiterate that this government is not building a tourism industry for headlines. We don't bother with them things. We are building it for the people. For the young mother who relies on her shifts at the hotel to support her family. For the fisherman whose catch now supplies restaurants filled with visitors. For the graduate returning home with skills and ambition. For the small entrepreneur whose dream is finally within reach. Tourism is no longer something that happens around our people. Tourism is working for our people. So in 2026, Madam Speaker, we are not simply continuing what we have started. We are stepping into a new era of tourism leadership. We're claiming our rightful space among Caribbean leading nations. We have brought stronger airlift with new airline access. We've introduced home porting for the first time in our federation's history. We've increased global visibility, strengthening our environmental protections at our ports, and ensuring that corporations and also, very importantly, our communities stand at the center of economic opportunity. We are putting resilience in every single aspect of our product so that what succeeds today flourishes tomorrow. St. Kitts and Nevis will no longer play small in a competitive world. We will not shrink beside others who are investing boldly. We will match ambition with execution. We will convert investment into transformation. Visible, measurable transformation that reaches homes in McKnight, Market Street, M Street, Newtown, Sandy Point, Old Road, Keys, in Charlestown and Gingerland, and in every single community across both islands. And so, Today, I say to the people of this federation, this is your industry. This is your opportunity and your future. Tourism is not owned by a sector. It is powered, like this budget, by people. Powered by our warmth, our talent, and our authenticity. So, Madam Speaker, the vision is clear. A tourism product that does not extract, but regenerates. An economy, as said by our mover of the bill, that does not exclude, but empowers, and empowers all. A country that does not hope for prosperity, but builds it. When tourism thrives, our nation rises, and that is clear. When our destination is respected, our people advance. And when prosperity touches every household, then and only then, Madam Speaker, we have done what we came here to do. Tourism for all. Tourism changing lives. Tourism securing our future. Allow me to close by saying to the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis, warm wishes for the season. Make sure you participate, whether Juve morning, last lap, or in any of the festivities. And I look forward to a new year where we continue to build stronger communities and brighter futures together. With that said, Madam Speaker, I wish this bill safe passage through this Honourable House. May it please you.